A divided Washington agrees on something. Look at that. The main reason that major State Department jobs are unfilled. Ted Cruz, the Biden administration waiting now on about 60 nominees to be confirmed, and it's facing more resistance in securing those confirmations than any other agency. For his part, Cruz is proudly claiming responsibility as he tries to pressure the administration on a specific point of Russia policy. Kylie Atwood has more on this story. Okay, what is the issue here that he's having?
Okay, so he is pressuring the Biden administration, as you said, over a very specific piece of Russia policy, Nord Stream 2. He wants the Biden administration to implement more sanctions on this Russian geopolitical project, which he and many others say is going to harm countries in the region like Ukraine. But the Biden administration has already made their policy decision on this front. So essentially, he is fighting over something that is no end in sight, right? This is a fruitless endeavor, a lot of folks on the Hill said to me. And we should both note both Republicans and Democrats are frustrated by this. And what this is doing is just demonstrating how hyper-partisan the nomination process has become. Traditionally, it was sort of a pro forma. Folks got their vote, they had their hearing, and, that was done. We move on and we debate other things. But what this is doing is really creating a very tense dynamic on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And I want to show you what has erupted in some of these business meetings between Senator Cruz and the leading Democrat on the committee.
Maybe it's your presidential aspirations. I don't know. But you're turning the political purposes. And you held over every nominee. Every nominee. I've never seen that.
Well, and I did so for a policy that, Mr. Chairman, you've supported
with
Nord Stream 2 that the Biden administration has deliberately undercut and given a gift to Putin and Russia. And at least in the prior administration, you agreed with that. You leveled a charge against me right now.
I never in the
Apparently
prior administration held up all of the nominees on an agenda because I had a policy difference. You're the first member that I know of to do that.
So now the question is, how do you actually get these nominees through, right? What this means is that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is in the hot seat. He has to be the person to invoke a procedural step that essentially gives floor time to these nominees. That's challenging right now when there's a lot of other issues that Congress as a whole wants to use floor time for. So it's forcing him to essentially decide, okay, I'm going to prioritize these. The Biden administration is working with Schumer on prioritizing some of these nominees to get through. One example is today they are actually voting on one of these senior State Department officials, but her nomination went forward more than 4 months ago. So this is a really long, drawn-out process. And I just want to note that administration officials are also pointing out that a lot of these folks are then getting bipartisan support in their votes. So it's not as if there is actual division over their competency. This is just an issue about politics.
It's just a reminder that first, the old idea that partisan politics ought to stop at the water's edge, no longer operative, particularly when Ted Cruz is involved.